Put yourself there. Put yourself in that imagined place of being like completely fucking recklessly enthusiastic. Did that increase your presence or decrease your presence when you take all the bracing out? That's bracing.
In this coaching session, we're going to deal with something that a lot of people are haunted by, them thinking that the other shoe is about to fall. The session was done during a live Q&A where people from the public can raise their hand and have a coaching session with me. If you pay attention, I'm sure you're going to get a ton out of it.
Let's say the last several years, I was in a very kind of stuck feeling situation professionally. And even though I enjoyed a lot of the work I did, I constantly had this sort of anxious, braced way of going about it. And now I've gone and created my own company. I feel great and really increasingly empowered about it. And I notice that whole flip side of, anxiety, excitement. I have a lot of excitement and still a lot of bracing.
So what's the question?
Questions like, how do I move forward? Or what do I do?
About what?
About this also this bodily tension, this bracing that I'm still doing.
So show me the bracing.
Like, yeah, let's show it.
Yeah. And then show me the opposite of bracing. So it's this place you're not going to get anything done from.
It's that as I'm working, I'm constantly just in the other one.
Right. You said that if you stop bracing, you're not going to get anything done.
I feel like
Or
I'll
did I
just be
mishear that?
bouncing all over the place and
But that opposite of
unfocused.
bracing that just happened wasn't bouncing.
No, I'm a bit settled right now, I suppose,
Let's
compared to
try it
how
again. Yeah. So brace for me. And now do the opposite of bracing. I mean, the presence that you're showing now definitely says to me you'll get more done here than bracing, more energy. So how does the bouncing, what's actually happening with the bouncing since it's not the opposite of bracing?
there's this feeling of trying to rush, just a moment ago. You're not getting what I'm saying, Joe, and I want to push you there. I want to, move the mouse cursor on my computer faster than it reasonably goes to click the thing because I know the next steps and I want it done. That's the thing.
How is it seems like that's what happens when you brace.
Yeah, that's that's what leads to the bracing or the tensing.
Yeah. But when you do the opposite of bracing, you just did it again. So then what's the bouncing off of walls thing? The bouncing off the wall seems to be bracing for an extended period of time.
But
I get, just to be clear, I get the idea that like, oh, if I stop bracing, then I'm gonna be like I get the idea. I know how that thought process occurs.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do one more experiment just to help you. Put yourself there. Put yourself in that imagined place of being like completely fucking recklessly enthusiastic and unfocused and just like running around. Yeah. Just like imagine it. And now take all the bracing out of it. Did that increase your presence or decrease your presence when you take all the bracing out? That's bracing. I just watched you do it. You were kind of doing this thing. You were not bracing. You got more in your body. You're like, and then you went, and then like your jaw shut down.
Yeah, there's a self-consciousness.
Yeah. Right. The bracing takes you out of presence. Even if you're excited, it makes you more in the excitement. I get the story that the mind tells. I'm just wanting to show you what the body actually does.
Mm.
And it's a really natural thing when we stop wanting to, like, the bracing is the controlling of an emotional experience. And we tell ourselves if we stop controlling, we'll be way out of control. And it's odd to figure out that what actually happens is that we become more present.
Yeah, I'll be rejected or too much or
That's right.
unproductive.
Yeah. Right. And you can see it really easily. Like if you're having a conversation with somebody and you start bracing, you'll start losing connection.
How do I stop doing it when I'm not? It's
You
like, how
just
do I be more mindful, Joe?
No, you
How do
just
I?
stopped doing it. You just did it. You just showed me. You just did it.
But it keeps happening.
Yeah, that's how life goes.
But I don't want
And,
that.
and the way you do it is you just notice that when you're in pain. That's all you have to do. If you tell yourself to stop bracing, it'll be a very, very slow process. It'll work. It'll just be very, very slow. If you like, oh, I'm in pain. Oh, I don't need to be. I can, and your body relaxes. That's all. If you're like, I'm in pain, shit, I fucking am bracing again. Jesus Christ, why do I keep doing that? But it'll be very slow. But if it's just like, oh, just like you're doing right here. So then the question is like, how do you keep it in top of mind? And posters on the wall, Yap app, whatever you have to do to just like remind yourself of the question. What am I bracing for? Is really ask yourself that 10 times a day and it'll be done in short order. Which is the question, what are you bracing for? Look at that. It just immediately took away the bracing.
How to hold it all together, Joe. Who else is gonna do it?
And that's the thing is like when you brace, your identity gets harder. You're more needed. And when you ask, what am I bracing for? The identity is like, oh, shit, I'm not needed here.
Ah, right. Of when I'm not needed.
Not needed.
Theory.